Hi, y'all. So this is probably a bit late, but I said I was going to vlog when I started getting into the depths of my transition to Dallas, and then once I got there, take y'all through maybe the first 18 months or 2 years, however much is going. So I think it's a good point because I'm getting close. I'm going to move there in a couple of months, July 1st. In the process of looking for a place and everything like that. But let me give you some backstory of, you know, me, why I'm moving to Dallas and, the risk that I'm taking. Anyone who knows me is I'm Baltimore, born and raised. I love my city. I never said I would leave. I always said that if I left, I would either move to Philly or move to New Orleans because they seem the most comparable and similar to Baltimore and how I like and the things that I'm used to and the environment that would suit me. So, and plus I always felt like that Baltimore gave me an education. It's just so much potential in the city and so many things with all cities that are wrong that I wanted to pull my talents here and not just take from the city and leave. But the last few years, I've been feeling complacent, unhappy professionally, and even personally in some matters. And last fall, something occurred, even in the midst of a pandemic, that it was like a rude awakening. And anyone who knows me knows I'm I'm very spiritual, and it was just like it had to be a message from God because it was so dramatic, so out of context, so out of left field, so out of a variance of anything that I experienced that it had to be a sign from God. So I started praying. I started, contemplating what changes should I make, what behaviors I needed to change and everything like that. And I started thinking about Dallas. Now, the story about Dallas is a college friend of mine, Q, just shout out to Q. We had went to the University of Baltimore together, and he said, Jamal, come down here. Like, this is, your type of town, the way you network, the way you do business, the way your mind works, you could have your way. And I was like, Q, I'm not moving. You're like, I'm a Baltimore bro. Like, it's just not going to happen. And after this occurred, I was like, let me give it another shot. So I started doing my own research. I'm a researcher. I'm an analyst. So that's always what I do. I analyze. So I started doing some analysis. I was like, you know what? Here, I think I'm going to make the move. Like, I feel like there are industries and stuff down there that I want to do that I am going to go ahead and make the move. So he put me in contact to a guy who, ironically, let me tell you how God will confirm certain things that you want to do using the very things that you thought you wanted. Q put me in contact with a guy, Penny, who moved down, and he had met through mutual friends, who moved down to Dallas from Philadelphia. So, I can relate because Q, he's African. He came from Baltimore, but he wasn't born and bred. So the transition from Baltimore to Dallas to him was a little bit different than someone tried and true born in the industrial Northeast. So Penny and I chopped it up one time. He was like, bro, this is what's going on. He gave me his likes, his dislikes, the environment. And he was like, yo, take a trip down here. Before you make the move, take the trip. So I planned the trip. And this is where this first blog is going to come on. I'm going to tell you guys how the trip went. So I planned the trip. I went there March 13th through the 16th. So fairly recently because today's the 23rd. So fairly recently I went on the trip. The trip did not start off well. And it's nothing against the city of Dallas. So I got there. The car rental agreement that I had, I think it was with Alamo or maybe Enterprise, whatever, they lost it. So that took what should have been a quick 15-minute pickup turned into an hour and a half because I got there. My flight was at 5:45 in the morning. I got to Dallas maybe 8:35. So I'm at the place. I had to walk over. Thank God Hertz was right across the street. So I walked over to Hertz to get the place. So I'm thinking, all right, that's a minor frustration. I'm going to go and check into my hotel. I thought I had paid to check in early. That didn't turn out to be right because of the pandemic. Not only was the hotel full, it was 11 o'clock and nobody had checked out. So I could not check into the hotel. So I am sitting in the parking lot of my hotel at 11 because I can't check until 3, fuming. So I text Q and Penny, let them know I was in town and all that. We had already decided to go to brunch that day, but I figured I was going to get, some shut eye, catch a nap, change. I had, we all go to the airport. I had my airport gear on. It was like some Under Armour pants, a shirt, some slippers. It was not brunch appropriate. So Penny come to my house, change. We gonna go the brunch or whatever. So this is where the story kicks off. So I go to Penny's apartment. He shows me around his development. It's nice. The rent is cheap compared to rents that I would see up here in the DMV. Like Penny had, I think it was 700 square feet. He had a pool, year round because the weather down in Dallas is nice. He had a gym. He had other amenities, free parking for your guests. All of this for the total price, I think it was $11.50. You're not getting all of that in Baltimore City. Nowhere in the DMV. It's just the matter and the nature of the way it works up here. That's not going to happen. So he shows me his place. That was great. Gave me an idea of comps and, the things I should be looking for. And he also lived, I would consider, in a community inside the city. You know how cities work. Like in Baltimore, there's Baltimore, but there's communities like Charles Village, Towson, downtown, Fells Point, that type of thing. So Addison was a community a little bit to the north of the city, but still not outside of Dallas County. So it was still there. It was about maybe 15 minutes from downtown. So we go out to brunch. First of all, they brunch on Saturdays. I had never known this to occur. Apparently, Dallas brunches on Saturdays and Sundays. So that was the thing. So they took me to this place called Stare. Stare, like Stare. And in Addison, there's also one downtown in a community called Deep Ellum. It was a nice place, spacious. The people. Let's start with the people. The people were friendly. It was a melting pot of different cultures. Everyone having a conversation. There was no. In the North, and again, I love Baltimore. In the North, there's always a undertone of hostility and standoffness and aggression. In the Texas and Dallas, it was not that. It was that Southern hospitality that we talk about. And we're having brunch. The food is good. The food was excellent. One thing you'll need to know about Dallas: Dallas is not a place of chain restaurants, as you would up here in the North, where you got, they're dominated by chain restaurants, whether it be fast food, restaurant chains. Dallas is not like that. It is a mecca of small mom and pop owned restaurants dominating areas or communities. So Star was a nice place. Shout out to Penny and Q. They kept having local Dallas people talk to me about, why I was there, what I was looking at, checking out the city, the transition. The bartender at Stir gave it high reviews, talked about, she had lived there her whole life. She had, maybe gone away from college and came back. But there was no place like Dallas. Like, the people, the culture, the networking, how people are always willing to, listen and, just hear your ideas and see if they can help in what way. Very different. Another experience that I had is people will interject their way into your conversation. Like, even if they are a little bit away, they can hear what you're saying. Not that they're being nosy, but that they happen to hear. So a couple of young ladies over here, when we were talking about, they chimed into the conversation. They gave me their input, gave the city rave reviews. This turned into a whole day, all day thing though. So we left Stir, went down to an area in Deep Ellum, which gave me for my people who might be from Baltimore, it gave me a Station North artsy feel. Like, that's where the bars were, or maybe even better, it gave me a Fells Point, Federal Hill type of feel. That's where the bars were, close proximity. It's very much of a walkable area. There are wall-to-wall restaurants and bars where in the span of it has to be 6 blocks down, 8 blocks over. So I'm experiencing the people, the friendliness, the culture, the air. The air was fresh. It was fresh. It was not polluted by the things that happen up here. And when I mean I smelled fresh air for the first time in a long time, it's not just because I was in the house from the pandemic. Like, this was a good experience. The traffic wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It still could be because of the pandemic. People might have been locked in, but it was a fairly good crowd out because Texas is one of those states where they've taken off the mask. The state's open. It's not, Miami Day right now in spring break when but people were out without their masks in close proximity, having a good time. The traffic I would relate it to traffic at home. Like, it might get different when I get down there, but the traffic was very much, a manageable place. I also visited a place. I went to Deep Ellum, which is near downtown. Addison was a community, let's call it, a suburb, still in the city, but to the north. I went further north, which would be maybe Addison's 15 minutes from downtown, Deep Ellum's downtown. Frisco, which has to be about 30 to 35 minutes from downtown, and everything else was a nice area. I would consider that like a Columbia here in Baltimore and Maryland, where it's where wealth was. It's, those, communities of, houses on acres, some things. It's where you want to go to raise a family, that type of thing. That's the type of community it was. I also went down, Penny took me to see SMU. That was a motivational type of ride. Like, there's something called like University Park, where the entirety of the community surrounds SMU, and the houses were immaculate. Like, they just screamed wealth. Like, that oil money is a little bit different. It might be turning into a little bit of tech money, but the oil money in Dallas near SMU was different, bro. It inspired me. I'm already an ambitious person, but that let me know that, the wealth and affluency there was good. And I saw, people as we were driving down, it was a mix of cultures who were coming out of them houses. Black, white, Asian, some Latinos was in there. And that's what's driving me in this journey to move to Dallas. Like, I've gotten so complacent, in my achievement. I've gotten comfortable, in the financial stability. But I don't want to get to a place where I'm so comfortable that I'm mediocre. So this move to Dallas is going to be a bold one, because outside of Q, who I went to college with, who, is going to be a good friend and probably tell me some things, I'm going to be on my own. There's no family. There's no mom to go around the corner. Like, can I come over? Can I get a meal? Like, that comfortability of, security that you can always go home. I'm going to be 1,200 miles away. And I can do that because I feel as though, one, I feel like that growing up in Baltimore put me in a mind state that I can survive anything. Like, the circumstances of this environment are so wild and so unbelievable sometimes. I feel like that other places are too slow compared to, and Baltimore's not like New York or anything like that, but it's definitely a place where you got to keep your head on a swivel. And that sense of urgency, that sense of alertness is going to serve me well down there. It's another thing that you guys are going to go on this journey with me with. I'm not taking my job with me. My job doesn't transfer down. We've been remote for a while, but I'm hearing rumblings that they're probably going to go back to the office in maybe July or August. I'll be in Dallas by July 1st. But the job's not coming with me. And even if it was coming with me, I've gotten to the point where I hate the work that I'm doing at the company that I wouldn't want it to come with me anyway. So there will be no safety net. And before y'all get in your hands, like, I have savings. Anyone who knows me is I'm frugal. I am not going to be down there begging bread. But it will give me the freedom to focus on what I want to do. Do I want to do investing full time? Do I want to? I've been considering heavily trying to break into venture, like trying to, either get into a fellowship, internship, or getting into a venture firm with basically no experience, just my financial analytical skills, because there are not enough Black people in the venture space that are like me. And by me, I mean, they're Black people in venture, but they're comfortable Black people. Like, they're the Black people that make white people comfortable, but they're not Black people who are rough around the edges, have seen some things, have done some things that in their, younger life will probably make, some white venture capitalists uncomfortable. And I think that is necessary, because those comfortable Black people that you hire, who maybe went to those Ivy League schools or dress a certain way or talk a way that make you comfortable, they don't have access to the deals that undeserved communities are pushing or coming up with, because they wouldn't be around those people, or nor would they know how to navigate those environments. So I'm playing with that. I'm thinking about consulting, or I might go back and become an entrepreneur again. If some of you don't know that, I had a couple of failed startups right after college. I'm not ashamed to say it. Startups are high probability of failure. Like, I raised some money from, foundation to get some, the minimum viable product going on. So it's a lot going on in my head that's going to, transpire in this. Here's an interesting thing that y'all might not know, that you might want to know when moving, at least to Dallas. And this, I want to vlog because I want to give people the benefit of my experience. If you're considering moving to another city, leaving home, leaving the safety net, like really branching off, I want you to know how other cities may differ. I didn't know that in Dallas, not only do they have home realtors, they have apartment realtors too. Most of them are free of charge. I have to define one of each, one who charges, one who doesn't. But they're free of charge because the metroplex of DFW, and let me explain what DFW. Dallas is one city. Right next to it is Fort Worth, which is about an hour away. And Arlington is right there in the middle. That's considered the DFW Metroplex. Dallas has a population of about 1.2 million people. The entire Metroplex, including Fort Worth and Arlington, has about 7 million people in it. So you can imagine housing has a bit of competition, because there's so many options. There's no way people could really overlook entire communities, entire housing complex, entire apartment complex, if you don't have people out there working and putting your name in front of people, depending on the amenities they want and all that. So I have realtors out there looking for places. I'm either going to live downtown in Addison. There's a lower green belt. I might live in Deep Ellum. Or there's also Carlton right there, all of which are about 25, somewhere between 15 and 25 minutes away from downtown. If I consider Frisco, that would be 30, so somewhere between 15 and 35 minutes. Those are drivable ranges for me, coming from where I come from, because even the counties normally from downtown to Baltimore is about 20, 25 minutes, so I can deal with that. So I just wanted to put this initial thing out there to tell y'all that the city was good in the initial visit. I'll let you know as things come up, if I hit hurdles, as I hit complications. I'm going to take y'all through this journey with me, from getting the leases to moving there, from, looking to see what my next opportunity is, in regards to employment and consulting, entrepreneurship. I am going to be very transparent. Very transparent. So let me know if you guys want me to talk about anything specific. If you have questions, you can put them underneath the comments. This is mostly for my YouTube channel, so I'm going to start blogging on that. I might post it on the Instagram a little bit, but this is mostly just for YouTube, to get people over there to seeing, the journey. I'm not sure what I'm going to name it. I'm not sure what I'm going to name it yet. Maybe I'll call it Jamal Takes Dallas. I'm not sure. But that's my little spill on the trip to Dallas, and the transition is up and underway. So get ready for more videos.